Hey, everybody, welcome. We're talking about freedom today. Freedom! Freedom. Yeah, there's all sorts of types of freedom. Today, we're talking about financial freedom, specifically a freedom number. Hey, everybody, I'm Chris Schweigel, founder and CEO of Chris Connects. We're a real estate investing company. But here we want to talk about freedom. We want to talk about your freedom, my freedom, everyone's freedom. Everybody wants freedom. There's so much in pop culture about freedom. You know, there's Rage Against the Machine, freedom, right? There's Beyonce, freedom, freedom, cut me loose. You know, there's all sorts of different types of freedom. Of course, the famous freedom. Mel Gibson, that was awesome. But today we're going to talk about financial freedom, and everybody wants financial freedom. And everybody on all their goals lists forever and ever, and will be forever and ever, always put, I want financial freedom. I want to be financially free. And that's great. Everyone wants that because we have bigger things in life that we want to do. We want to achieve more, have a bigger impact, spend more time with this person, hang out more, not be working, not be trading our time for dollars. Now, the social worker in me is used to creating a treatment plan with people, which is essentially a goals list in the business world. Business people create goals all the time. And one of the difficult things is doing something called operationalizing something. Operationalizing means you make your goal measurable. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. Is we're going to talk about financial freedom in a way that you can operationalize or measure this. So we're going to be talking about a freedom number, okay? Now there's all sorts of different types of freedom out there. Of course, there's the freedom of movement, where you have a healthy body, where you're able to have the freedom of movement. You know, back when I had kidney disease, one of the things that kidney disease progresses to is dialysis. And this is a part of the kidney treatment where basically your kidneys are no longer working to filter out your blood in a way that can keep your body alive. So you have to go somewhere and have them do this. And this takes a lot of time. So there's some freedom of time that's lost. Also, you have to always be near a dialysis clinic. So now I would have lost my freedom of geography. I had to live in a metro area where there was a dialysis treatment center nearby. Also, if you do multiple dialysis treatments per week, you lose your freedom of movement in terms of vacations and things like that. There's a lot of physical pain, so you have freedom of comfort that's taken from you. Now, thank the good Lord that I don't have kidney disease anymore, which is awesome, and I have some freedoms back. Because as they say, if you are healthy, you have a whole bunch of things that you want to do. But someone who's unhealthy only wants one person. So take care of that body, take care of that ticker. Give yourself some more freedom. Now, back to the regular scheduled program. We're talking about financial freedom here, and we are operationalizing it, meaning that we're going to make it measurable. And our freedom number is the way that we're going to make it measurable. So what the heck is a freedom number? Your freedom number is your monthly expenses. Now that may seem weird, but if you are able to create enough passive income where it covers all of your monthly expenses, you now have financial freedom. You've exited from the rat race. If we were playing Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, we would have exited the little rat race, and now we're on the big part, which is really fun. So, why did we get our freedom number to be our monthly expenses? Well, we have to pay for those expenses every single month. Most of us go to work for somebody else to pay the bills. And if we get a raise, then we kind of have what they call lifestyle creep, where our monthly expenses increase, therefore making it more difficult for us to get out of the rat race because we continue to trade time for dollars. This is why it doesn't matter your personal situation here. You could be making $7 an hour, or you could be pulling down 7 million a year. As long as your investments, your passive income investments, are not paying for all of your monthly expenses, you're still in the rat race. You have not yet achieved financial freedom. Now, how the heck do you get out of the rat race? There's two ways that you can do it. There's one way you can cut your expenses. You can certainly do that because that gets you even closer to that freedom number. And let me tell you, that helps, but it doesn't help forever. Everyone knows about Dave Ramsey's advice to basically live poor and hate life and be miserable in order to achieve financial freedom. I don't think I agree with any of that crap because we all want to enjoy stuff in life. We all want to eat great food, buy a coffee whenever we feel like it, to have people over to our house, to live in a beautiful setting, to be able to take your wife on a date. That would be awesome. So we have to have a way to track our monthly expenses to know what it is. So this is my plug for you to create a monthly budget. If you don't know what you're spending every single month, you don't know your freedom number. You have yet to figure out what it takes for you to get out of the rat race, and you need to figure that out. Normally, I'm not this pushy with people, but I will be right now. You don't know what you are aiming at if you don't know your monthly expenses. You've got to get this figured out. Our freedom number in our household is $10,817. That's how much it's going to take for us to get out of the rat race. Now, that may seem daunting to some people. To other people, they're like, oh, dude, you live super cheap, only 10 grand a month. Everyone's situation is different. And if you were to play the cash flow game, you'd realize that sometimes being a doctor and making $250,000 a year seems great, but the expenses of a $250,000 a year doctor are there as well. Sometimes it's easier to be the janitor. The janitor doesn't make a whole lot of money, but also the janitor doesn't have a lot of expenses. Either way, the freedom number is this person's monthly expenses. Figuring a way to get passive income to pay for all those expenses is going to be the way out of the rat race. So that's the first way, is to cut your expenses. People do that. I mean, we do that in my household. You know, we cut subscriptions or whatever. You know, I was getting a magazine for a little bit. Don't need to do that. Hey, can we cut the budget here? We budgeted this much for vacations. Is there any way that we could, do vacations closer to home and still have fun? Is there a way that we can buy in bulk at Costco or be a part of a CSA where, a farmer delivers food to us instead of having to go to the grocery store? Can we lease a car or just buy it outright instead of having that monthly expenses? There's a number of ways that you can cut your expenses. Remember, you still got to live your life. Willpower alone is not going to get you out of the rat race here. Willpower alone is not going to cut your expenses down to zero. Some of us are willing to cut a lot more expenses than others, so you've got to decide what makes you happy while also cutting your expenses. Most of us have kind of frivolous stuff that leaves and we don't know, and then when we become aware of it, we're like, oh crap, this is getting me farther from my freedom number, so I'm happy to cut those expenses. That's low-hanging fruit, and that's a really, really nice way to get a little bit closer to your freedom number. Now, the second way that you can get to your freedom number is by creating passive income, which boosts your monthly income. Now, what is passive income? That's a great question. Passive income is money that comes in whether you are awake or asleep, whether you're at Cabo San Lucas or Minneapolis, Minnesota, whether you're working or on vacation, whether you're petting your dog or your cat, or you've even left them home to fight. It doesn't matter. You're still making passive income. Now, there are a number of ways that you can create passive income. It's no secret that I love real estate. Real estate investing has been just transformative for my family, and that's why I've got a course to help you do that as well. That's why I have passive investing opportunities for you as well. I'm continuing to figure out content that is relevant and push that out to get people closer and closer and closer to that freedom number. That's my passion, is to help 1 million people get to that freedom number, because that would be awesome. That would be awesome. And why would that be awesome? Because then people have their time. I honestly believe in my heart of hearts that people really don't want extravagant things with their money. People don't want to sail the world on some sort of, yacht with a helicopter on it and hot tubs and all that kind of stuff. That would be cool, I guess, for a week. I would do that for a week, yeah. But much more than that, people want purpose. And a lot of times people get purpose from doing something that fills their heart up. And usually that takes more time than they currently have working a 9 to 5. And so kind of the hidden core belief here, the hidden core value that's behind the desire for financial freedom, is the desire for freedom of time. When you have your freedom of time, you can do what you want. You can stay home. You could do Sudokus. You could shovel the neighbor's driveway because she's not able to get outside. You can go to the Humane Society and walk dogs who aren't yet adopted. You could adopt a child of your own. You could start a business. You could sail the world. You could do any sort of number of volunteering, business, work, whatever. You will feel more connected to life and to your purpose when you have passive income coming in. I know that. I've experienced that. And I know a bunch of people who have too, and they say the same exact thing. It's the same testimonial for receiving passive income. Boy, I feel way more connected and way more juice in life than I ever did before. Now here, before we go, I want to touch on an important concept here in financial education. We're going to talk about the difference between assets and liabilities. We're going to talk about some Robert Kiyosaki type stuff. And if you haven't read Cash Flow Quadrant, if you haven't read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I really strongly recommend that you give those two a read. They will get you understanding the concept of the rat race, the freedom number, and ways that you can utilize your own talents to develop more assets and get rid of liabilities. So Robert Kiyosaki's thesis in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which he says is a boring accounting book, is that people generally make an income from a job, trading time for dollars, and then they go out and buy liabilities. Where instead they should be trading their time for dollars and then buying assets and have those assets buy them liabilities. But what the heck is an asset and what's a liability? A lot of people get this wrong. Your insurance agent has this wrong. Your banker has this wrong, but you're going to get this right. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket every month. That's it. Super simple. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket every month. Simple. Most things are liabilities. When you go through your balance sheet, when you figure out your monthly expenses, you're going to be like, holy crap, we have a lot of liabilities and we have very few assets. Some people have none. Some people who are very well established and have fancy cars and fancy houses have zero assets. I'm on a mission to change that. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket every month. A liability takes it out of your pocket every month. Your personal home takes money out of your pocket every month. Even if you own it outright and you have no mortgage, it costs money in terms of energy, heat, gas, electricity. It takes money to, pay taxes, property taxes, and all that kind of stuff. Your primary residence is always going to be a liability. Your car, not an asset, a huge liability. Owning a car always costs money. You're just trying to mitigate the financial hit of that liability. Vacations, school, any sort of lessons, all of that a liability because it takes money out of your pocket. But what about a 401k? That's an investment, right? Nope. Sorry. A 401k is a big time liability. It takes money out of your paycheck and sends it away. A 401k is a huge misunderstanding and a huge misnomer in the financial education world, because a 401k or a Roth IRA or whatever you want to call it, any sort of retirement account, is going to be a liability. It takes money out of your pocket every single month. Now, your hope is eventually it will become an asset where it will put money into your pocket. But we're talking decades down the line. So this thing's a liability for what, 30, 40, 50 years before we can consider it an asset. That is incredibly risky and gets you super far away from your freedom number. So, how do you make decisions in a financial world that's spinning round and round? There's so many things that you can invest in, so many things you can buy. You can buy a new car, you can buy TVs because they're super cheap now. You can buy clothes, you can spend an extra buck on a cool sweatshirt that has a deer with antlers on it. You can, for free, cut yourself into a sweet mustache that you're going to keep around while your wife is away. Sorry, babe. Or you could put your money into assets. These are things that will give you cash flow. We're talking about any sort of passive investment into a syndication. How about a rental property that you own? Someone else can manage it for you. It doesn't matter. As long as you're getting cash flow every month, that thing's going to be an asset, and that's a jackpot for you. So you're going to make decisions from now on based on how close does this get me to my freedom number, or does this get me farther from my freedom number? That's the lens that you have to be viewing any sort of financial decision. Hey, my company is giving us more in 401k bonuses if I put more in. Well, you're adding more liability, which pushes out your freedom number. Maybe that's a decision that you want to say no to. Maybe you want to quit contributing to a 401k and start getting into private placements, real estate investing that allows you to get cash flow now, because that's not going to go away ever. It's going to keep spitting out cash flow. And then you can do 1031s and, buy more and more property and all that kind of stuff from there and manage your portfolio. But the way that you need to be viewing any sort of financial decision is this getting me closer to my freedom number or farther away from my freedom number? And that has really helped us out a lot, because financial education is difficult because everything is swarming in this big, beehive of information and misinformation and stuff that's relevant to you and not relevant to you, and comes with an agenda and doesn't come with an agenda, is coming from a reporter versus coming from someone who's lived it and is a business owner, an entrepreneur, and you've got to figure out what's best for you. So I'm just trying to help you kind of cut through all that crap, cut through all the red tape, and figure out your freedom number so you can start to make decisions that are relatively easy for you, instead of navigating through this difficult web of financial information out there. So, hey, if you want to go ahead and get yourself a deer sweatshirt, I'm sorry, I took it from the garage sale, but I do hope that you figure out your freedom number. Remember, it's your monthly expenses, and there's two ways you can get closer to that. You can boost your passive income, or income, I suppose, while allowing your expenses to stay the same, or you could figure out a way to reduce your expenses. All that's going to get you closer to your freedom number, which gets you out of the rat race, which gets you financial freedom, which ultimately gives you the freedom of time. So I hope that this is helpful. I am Chris Schweigel, CEO and founder of Chris Connects. We're a real estate investing company. You can find us at chrisconnects.co. You can email me, chris@chrisconnects.co. Or you can be on the lookout for our new course that's coming out to help you get into your first rental property. That's at chrisconnects.co/myfirstrental. Here's to you guys. Cheers. Take care.